Good morning. The first item of business is general questions. At question number 1, I call Claire Haughey, who is joining us remotely.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what engagement it has had with the UK Government regarding the closure of any job centres in Scotland.
Deputy First Minister.
We have raised the issue of job centre closures more widely with UK Government counterparts, and we are concerned about the closure of the Cambuslang Job Centre in Claire Haughey's constituency. We will continue to engage with relevant stakeholders to assess impact and to explore ways to minimise disruption where necessary.
Claire Haughey.
I thank the Deputy First Minister for that answer. The DWP have announced that Cambuslang Job Centre in my constituency is to close. It was previously saved in 2017 after a huge outpouring of opposition. Hundreds of local residents have signed my petition against the closure, and Cambuslang Community Council are actively involved in the campaign. It's now been 10 weeks since I requested an urgent meeting with the UK Government with no response. Would the Minister join me in opposing the closure and condemn the UK Government's lack of engagement with local representatives and the affected communities?
Well,
Deputy First Minister.
Cutting services mean that people face greater travelling times and costs, particularly for disabled people and those with complex needs. Consequently, people face an increased risk of sanctions for having to travel longer distances to attend job centres at specific times. So for those reasons, I absolutely join the representative for Rutherglen, Claire Haughey, and all the organisations that she has mentioned in opposing this closure, and the lack of consultation prior to this decision is particularly unacceptable.
Question number 2, Maurice Golden.
Presiding Officer, to ask the Scottish Government what the current state of readiness is for the upcoming ban on biodegradable municipal waste to landfill.
Cabinet Secretary Gillian Martin.
I thank Maurice Golden for his question. The forthcoming ban on biodegradable waste to landfill is a crucial part of delivering Scotland's net zero ambitions, and the waste sector has already made significant preparations, including significant investment in Scotland's energy from waste infrastructure, and as such the amount of Scottish waste landfilled in 2023 is the lowest on record. The vast majority of councils have indicated readiness for the ban, and the remaining are progressing arrangements towards compliance. However, I am aware of challenges placed by some in the sector, notably waste SMEs, and we are working with partners to support their readiness for the ban and to reduce any environmental impacts.
Maurice Golden.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for that answer. The landfill ban assurance study refers to external markets helping manage any capacity shortfall from 2026. I wonder if the Cabinet Secretary can outline what those markets are, and furthermore, if she is in a position to do so, outline the timescales when we might know where the waste is going to be sent to.
Cabinet Secretary.
So it is my plan to have all waste as much as possible dealt with in Scotland, and the biodegradable waste in particular in readiness. I note that there has been some media around the potential for it going to England. I do not want to do that. First Minister has been very clear in the Chamber that that's not going to happen. So I've had detailed discussions with representatives of the waste sector who have been extremely helpful and constructive in their approach, and are working with myself in Scottish Government, my teams and SEPA on a range of solutions around the issues that SMEs and the waste sector are facing. I can't divulge those solutions at the moment because they're still being fully agreed, but I hope to be able to let members in Parliament know of them in the next few weeks.
Question number 3, David Torrance.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government how it will ensure that Scotland remains at the forefront of hydrogen development and deployment.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. The Scottish Government is committed to supporting the hydrogen sector in Scotland to develop and grow. We are engaging with business and the UK Government on the enabling policies that are required, investment, infrastructure and regulatory measures that need to be in place to realise the substantial opportunities for Scotland that exist from production and use of renewable and low-carbon hydrogen, given our renewable power potential in Scotland. And we're also working with Scotland's enterprise agencies to deliver our commitment to provide up to £10 million to the sector in 2025-26, aiming to support production, infrastructure and usage projects.
David Torrance.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for that answer. With the H100 hydrogen homes in Fife close to launch, how is the Scottish Government working with regulators to ensure a smooth transition to hydrogen and to enable broader adaptation and adoption of similar technologies across Scotland and build public confidence in hydrogen as a safe and sustainable energy source?
Cabinet Secretary.
I thank David Torrance for that question. Hydrogen use as an energy vector has been used routinely in Scotland in industry for many decades, mostly in petrochemical refining. However, hydrogen use for domestic heating is new, and it needs to be demonstrated. And the H100 Fife project, which I have visited, will help inform UK Government decisions on the role of hydrogen and how it can play a part in decarbonising heat use in the gas network. And we're working with Scottish and UK regulators through multiple channels, including the Scottish Regulatory Steering Group and the UK Hydrogen Regulators Forum, to ensure that the framework for hydrogen supports the scale-up of the sector whilst protecting the environment and communities. But safety is absolutely fundamental, and the beauty of the H100 project is that it can demonstrate that safety. Before H105 can go ahead, the HIC will have to be satisfied that it will run safely. If they're satisfied, then the evidence will demonstrate that they can run the trial, and of course that will bring the evidence to show that 100% hydrogen, where it's applicable, can be used safely in the domestic setting.
Thank you. Question number 4, Gordon MacDonald.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government whether it will provide further details of the steps that it is taking to support innovation and entrepreneurship in Scotland.
Deputy First Minister.
Well, we are fully committed in our support of innovation and entrepreneurship. During the recent National Innovation Week, we reaffirmed our commitment to supporting innovators by announcing a £5 million package for Scotland's high-growth clusters and launched a new national programme to help businesses adopt AI. Additionally, we're investing a record £30 million in various initiatives to support entrepreneurs. Through all of those interventions, we are aiming to become one of Europe's fastest-growing start-up economies.
Gordon MacDonald.
I thank the Deputy First Minister for that answer. Could the Deputy First Minister provide a breakdown of the allocation and expected outcomes for the Ecosystem Fund in 25-26, particularly regarding the supported projects and their impact on regional economies?
Deputy First Minister.
The Ecosystem Fund is our programme to support organisations that strengthen the wider entrepreneurial ecosystem, to deliver projects that create the conditions for Scottish start-ups to thrive. Since 2021, it's invested £3.4 million across 100 innovative projects. The most recent round launched in April, and this year we awarded around £800,000 to 28 projects from 317 applications, demonstrating continued strong demand.
Question number 5, Liam MacArthur.
Thank you. To ask the Scottish Government whether it will commit to reintroducing the shared cabin policy as a condition of the next Northern Isles ferry services contract.
Minister Jim Fairley.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I would refer the member to a previous response that I gave to a question S6W35681 and reiterate that the detailed services requirements will be informed by a combination of stakeholder views alongside consideration of operational feasibility. The NIF's public consultation remains open until the 13th of October, and pending analysis and feedback, there are no current plans to introduce shared cabins as part of the NIF services at this time.
Liam MacArthur.
Thank you. For years, the shared cabin policy on Northern Isles Northlink ferries allowed islanders to get a good night's sleep on the Aberdeen route while keeping costs down. The option was removed during COVID, and Northlink ministers have since refused to reintroduce it. As a result, islanders are often forced to pay full cabin price for a single berth or face sleeping in chairs or on the floor. It's akin to charging a motorcyclist for deck space for an Arctic lorry. Costs are up. The value of vouchers are down. This is a lifeline service and islanders deserve better. So can I urge the Minister again to ensure that reintroducing the option of shared cabins is a condition of the next ferries contract?
Minister.
I absolutely hear all the points that the member is making, but there are split views on what this should actually be. The decision was taken by the operator. It is an operational matter for them. It was taken by the operator on a health and safety issue. However, there are a number of other options that people can have on that ferry service, but those views will be concluded as we go through the process.
Thank you. Question number 6, Bob Doris.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what discussions the Climate Action Secretary has had with ministerial colleagues regarding how to encourage homeowners to decarbonise their properties as part of Scotland's ambition to achieve net zero by 2045.
Cabinet Secretary Gillian Martin.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I've had discussions with a range of colleagues as part of the development of the next climate change plan, including the Cabinet Secretary for Housing, on heat and buildings in particular. Decarbonising Scotland's buildings is absolutely essential to achieving net zero by 2045, as emissions from heat are one of the most significant sources. Our programme of support schemes and advice services helps homeowners to play their part by funding a significant share of the decarbonisation cost. We're investing £300 million over 2025-26, and that's supporting over 20,000 households to save up to £500 on their energy bills a year.
Bob Doris.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for that answer. We must have every opportunity to support homeowners to decarbonise their properties, including moving from heat systems reliant on fossil fuels to alternatives such as ground source heat pumps. However, when a heating system breaks down and is beyond repair, often homeowners need to move swiftly to secure heating and hot water for their families as soon as possible, particularly if there are small children at home or elderly residents, which can necessitate the need for a like-for-like system installed for speed, something I've got direct experience of. So what action can the Scottish Government take to address barriers and switching to alternative heat sources in such circumstances where time is of the essence and delays in installing greener heat systems may deter many?
Cabinet Secretary.
I recognise the scenario that Mr Doris outlines, and I recognise that most homeowners will replace like for like when an existing boiler breaks down. It is an emergency purchase, but our support schemes are there to help homeowners replace their boilers with clean heating systems either before that stage or to put plans in place for when their boilers reaches the end of its life. The Home Energy Scotland Grant and Loan Scheme helps people across Scotland to plan and install heat pumps, and over 2,500 heat pumps were funded by Home Energy Scotland Grant and Loan Scheme in the last financial year. We'll shortly be launching a national campaign to promote Home Energy Scotland, who provide households with free and partial advice on energy efficiency and clean heating and can help households access the support available. I'd also mention that Glasgow City Council is working at pace to plan for significant heat networks in the city as part of their stated goal of being a net zero city.
Sarah Boyack.
Given the huge potential of heat pumps, will the Scottish Government consider reintroducing financial support for householders to get support for installing solar panels as a first step to installing heat pumps? Because our constituents are now cancelling their plans to install heat pumps, which is bad news for our climate, bad news for their homes and bad news for the companies that make heat pumps in Scotland.
Cabinet Secretary.
Well, at the moment, obviously, with the fiscal restraints that we've had to make some choices around where we put the support. I would love to be in a position to extend the support available into other technologies as well, such as Sarah Boyack mentions. But what we've got to do with the funding that we've got is look at where we can actually make the biggest difference in terms of decarbonisation and affecting fuel poverty. So, obviously, if things improve with regards to the settlement that we get from the UK Government, then I will be able to take measures such as the sort that Sarah Boyack outlines.
Thank you. Question number 7, Stephen Kerr.
Maybe I should speak slowly, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what measures it has in place to ensure that public body officials do not misuse their position for personal gain.
Minister Ivan McKee.
Public body officials must adhere to the Scottish Public Finance Manual. Scottish Government-sponsored bodies must ensure compliance with any relevant provisions and arrange for procedures consistent with the guidance to be put in place. Board members establish the values and standards of their organisation, ensure that the organisation adopts and complies with their Code of Conduct for staff, and the Scottish Government ensures board members are aware of their responsibilities through annual board induction events and producing guidance. The Standards Commission for Scotland provides further detailed guidance on the Model Code of Conduct and how it applies.
Stephen Kerr.
Well, I'm grateful to the Minister for his reply, and in relation to the conduct of senior officials. Given the ongoing disclosures in the public interest at Historic Environment Scotland, Glasgow City Council and TechScaler, matters which would never have seen the light of day were it not for the courage of individuals prepared to speak out, often in the face of intimidation and the threat of retaliation, will the Minister take this opportunity to commend the bravery of whistleblowers and to acknowledge the vital role they play in safeguarding the public interest? And does he accept that it's often only the guarantee of anonymity that gives whistleblowers the courage to make a protected disclosure to a prescribed person in the first instance?
Minister.
Well, specifically on the matters that the member raises, I'm aware of the issues in connection with Historic Environment Scotland. He knows that my colleague, the Cabinet Secretary for Culture, Angus Robertson, is seized of these matters, and we are delighted that he has a new and highly commended chairman in Sir Mark Jones, who will be looking very closely at governance and other matters. And in the broader issue that Stephen Kerr raises around those that raise those issues, yeah, absolutely do commend that happens, because it is really important to keep the whole system across the public sector in check and to raise awareness of where there are any potential issues that need to be addressed.
Thank you. Question number 8, Willie Rennie.
To ask the Scottish Government whether it will change the college and university funding frameworks to reflect the hybrid nature of Scotland's Rural College, which has both higher and further education provision.
Minister Ben McPherson.
The Scottish Government absolutely recognises the important role of hybrid institutions that support delivery of both further and higher education, such as the SRUC. The current framework allows the SFC to fund institutions to support both provision types. As the member will be aware, it is the role of the Scottish Funding Council who are responsible for allocating funding to institutions. However, I'm interested to hear more from the member on the issue of funding frameworks.
Willie Rennie.
SRUC have been through the mill in recent years. They've got real problems with their finances, and that's resulted in the closure of buildings, but also the closure of courses. They have got a huge estate that they inherited from their predecessors, but they get a fraction of the capital funding from the Scottish Funding Council that I think they deserve. So I would appreciate if the Minister could have a discussion with the Scottish Funding Council to make sure the special hybrid nature of that institution is reflected in the finances that is available to it.
Minister.
I'm aware of the contribution that the SRUC makes, not just generally and in this role, but from my time as Minister for Rural Affairs and the Natural Environment in years past. I was grateful to receive direct correspondence from the SRUC on my appointment on the 29th of September, and I'm aware of the engagement that my predecessor has also had with the SRUC. I look forward to further direct engagement with the SRUC on the matters the members raised and on other matters of pertinence to the organisation, and to continued dialogue with the SFC, and I will note the points that the members raised as I undertake that dialogue in the period ahead.
I call Stephen Kerr for a point of order.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I apologise. I once again forgot to declare an interest as a Director of Whistleblowers UK, a not-for-profit company that has set up the campaign for whistleblowing to be in a more favourable legislative framework.
Thank you, Mr Kerr. Your comments are on the record. I call Bill Kidd.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. The Minister will be aware that the UK Government has moved this week to reintroduce grant support to students on low incomes. About time too, but can he confirm firstly that the policy of utilising international student income for this purpose will not affect Scotland's universities, and how the new measures in England compare with what the SNP already provides in support to students?
Minister. The point the member raises about the announcements from the UK Government are of course of concern, and the Government will consider these points in terms of continuing to make sure that through free tuition and the enhanced support that there is in Scotland, that learners in Scotland receive the most support here in Scotland in terms of the rest of the UK. The total package of support is the most generous across the UK, and we will make sure that Scottish students continue to have the lowest average student loan debt in the UK and are committed to free tuition, as the Parliament very well knows.